Hello, friends, and welcome to the show, Your Real Estate Today. Happy Saturday. We hope wherever you are, you're enjoying the day and you're out and about today having a great time. If you're a first-time listener, this is the show, Your Real Estate Today. I'm Paul Jameson, your host. I am the owner of the Jameson family of companies. That's Jameson Realty, Jameson Property Management, Jameson Property Investments. If you want to watch the radio show, you can tune into the Jameson Realty YouTube channel. It'll be out there for you, and you can see all the crazy expressions and you can see what we look like, because we certainly enjoy being with you all and having you as a part of the show. So sit back and relax. We're going to talk some real estate today. I've got Sandy Dickinson with Summit Funding. Hey, Sandy.
Hello. Hi.
Glad to have you back. Sandy's going to give us our mortgage update, and then in the next segment, we're going to introduce you and say hello to Sam Ivey with Ivey Exterminating. He will be with us for the remainder of the show. He's got all the things you're going to need to know about what's creeping and crawling around your home. And he said, even though we're close to Valentine's Day, he said love is in the air already. And we're going to talk about that, the crawl space, and maybe some chipmunks, if we can get him to talk about them, and much, much more. So we're excited to have that happen. So before we get into the mortgage update, let me tell you what is going on and what I learned this week. And I want to start out the conversation with a conversation I had with my dad. My dad is 94 years old. He is my mentor. He is my best friend. He is a man who has had a huge influence in my life, and he's rocking it for a guy who's 94 years old. I'm telling you, he's in fantastic shape and doing well. But in the conversation, he said, son, what are you going to do, with the fact that, we're in a depression right now. Everything is depressed. And, he said, I was alive during the depression and now we're in a depression. How is that going to affect your business? And I said, Dad, let me just share something with you. I said, we are not in a depression. I said, when I get up in the morning and as I go out and I serve people and my team serves people during the day, it is very clear that we're in anything but a depression. Now, are there depressing things that are happening in our market, especially for the hospitality industry, which is down 85% right now, and other parts of our market? Are there things going on that could make you feel depressed? Sure. But if you look at what we see on a daily basis, it's anything but a depression. Here's what we see. Irregardless of the Biden effect, irregardless of what's happening, first of all and foremost, as I said, I'm an optimist. My glass is half full, and I hang with optimists, but I'm also a realist. And what that means is that as we look at what's happening, here's what I see. I see in our market less than 1 month of housing inventory. That means that if no one else put their house on the market tomorrow, that our market would be sold out in less than a month. What I also see is folks from San Francisco or other parts of California, New York, Chicago, New Jersey, Boston, Connecticut, coming to our market because they don't have to work from home anymore. They're tired of paying 54% in taxes. They don't want to wake up to another snowbound day, and they want to be here. And they're coming here in groves. What do I also see? I see, like I saw this weekend, an open house for a $195,000 house that had 54 people in attendance and 25 offers. What do I also see? I see interest rates at crazy numbers. Sandy Dickinson is working from dawn to dusk, helping people buy homes and refi. What do I also see? I see a lot of money in the market. I see a lot of money out there. Where do you think it came from? Well, here's the first place. People are saving at a greater rate than they ever have because they're not going out to eat. They're not going on vacation. They're not using the money in discretionary ways that they used to. And there is trillions of dollars being pumped into our economy, which lifts the stock market. Stock market loves it. There's money, 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 money everywhere. And many businesses are thriving. We are not in a depression. We are in a place where we have sellers who are getting good, solid numbers for their home and opportunity. Now, you got to have a plan if you want to sell, to, an interim plan, because you may not find the right home right away, but they're out there. You just have to know how to win and know how to look. That's what our team can help you do. But between rates, opportunity, and seniors who now feel more confident that we have a vaccine and have come out of the house and are venturing outside. Don't you call me a senior, even though I am one. Silver-haired man. How's that? I'll take that. But there's a sense of confidence now that wasn't there before. Our counties are growing. Gaston County, Iredell County, Mecklenburg County, Union County. There's a lot of money on the sidelines. Renters, oh my gosh, for my investors, my vacancy rate is silly because people need a place to stay and they want to be here. So what did I learn this week? I learned what my dad said to me, and what people think isn't what we see. He said, well, son, why are the news channels not talking about it? And I said, Dad, it's because it's not bad news. It's good news. And we need some of that. After 2020, we've been out of control. In 2021, we're back in control. And you need to hear that from somebody who deals with this every day. Are there still some things that need to change? Absolutely. I'm here to talk real estate. And that world has given you control back. And I hope you take it. All right? Sandy.
Yes.
Mortgage update.
Okay. Speaking of not being in a depression, unemployment was better, way better than expected this month.
Yes, it was.
174,000. So that's good news. Refi applications were up 11%. Purchases were sort of flat, but year over year, they're up 16%, which is amazing with the low inventory and the price increase of about 10%. It's just the market is great and purchases are great. So what are rates doing? Right now, they're doing really, really great. But how long can this last? So it's been about a year now since the big rate drop. And honestly, the government has to get some money, and they make money through taxes and bonds. So eventually the rates are going to have to go up. So what I would say is, if you're happy with the rate, lock it in if you can, because it could go a tiny bit lower, but it could go quite a bit higher. So I would say just be cautious, and I wouldn't play around with it too much. But right now, everything is status quo, and the rates are amazing.
Yep. I think you're spot on with that, Sandy. And if they want to talk to you about a refi or apply for a mortgage, how do they get you?
My mobile is 704-577-0144.
704-577-0144, Sandy Dickinson, Summit Funding. If you're happy with your rate, lock it in. We're going to, we need to keep that song going. And spring is around the corner. Yeah, Sammy's doing some jive. You can watch that later. So, Mary, I'm not doing that. I might hurt myself. All right.
He's got some moves.
He got some moves. All right. More to come. The show, Your Real Estate Today. You're on News Talk 1110 99.3 WBT. Stay right where you are. You're going to love it. We'll be right back. Welcome back, friends. The show, Your Real Estate Today, on this beautiful Saturday. We're glad that you're with us. And any day that you're out and about on the weekend, it's got to be a beautiful day. So we're excited about that and about you spending time with us. If you're just tuning in, the show, Your Real Estate Today, is about your home, buying, selling, investing, and many different ways to protect it, take care of it, look out for it. And I'm here with our monthly guest, Sam Ivey. We're missing Marty today, but Sam, you've done this 1,000 times, so I know that you're going to make the old man proud. So
I sure as heck am going to try. I hope I don't get a memo saying that I've been fired.
Well, I doubt that's going to happen, brother. I doubt that's going to happen. Well, Ivey Exterminating, been around since 1954. He is one of the best pest control crawl space companies out there. They take care of a lot of things for our team. If you want them, it's 704-334-1616 or bugivey.com. And Sam today is going to talk about love. And,
Ooh.
you know, we all need a lesson in love. And Valentine's Day is approaching, but I don't think you're talking about that Cupid kind of love related to Valentine's Day or to humans, are you?
Oh no, not humans, but just our little friends, the termites. And that's right.
No. We don't love them. It is not mutual.
I'd love to take care of them for you. That's the thing. I love to help you get rid of those things for you. So yes, we all love termites, but men, I'm just telling you, Valentine's Day is next week. So you better get the flowers. This is your warning. Go buy some nice chocolates. Do something. You've been warned. It's coming. But termites, it is right around the corner. We're seeing the weather starting to dip real cold, and we're starting to see some of these little warm spikes where it'll kind of ramp back up. And that's normally an indication that we're probably about 4 weeks out from termite swarming season. And that's when those termites are going to start swarming. And what happens, Paul, is the queen, she'll actually regulate the hormones within the colony. And when she does that, a certain portion of the colony will develop wings, and they'll come out of the ground and they'll start doing this mating flight. It's a mating ritual. I don't know why God allowed them to mate like this, but what happens is that they'll fan their pheromones around in the air, the female will, and that male will come up behind her and kind of mate with her in flight, and then they will fall to the ground. That's right, mate in flight. That's a new one for you. And if they lose their wings and get back up underneath the soil, they will start a new colony. And this swarming season, you can literally see them coming out of your home, out of the ground. If you've got trees in a wooded area, you may see them flying around on the back of your property. And they will literally be flying out by the hundreds, in some cases in the thousands of them, because there's just so much love to go around with these little insects.
But see, Sam, so break this down a little bit. Being able to work with their own hormones. Okay, way far away from human, way far away from women human, way far away. Like, okay, thank you, Lord, and darn it. Because if we could control some hormones, pheromones, whatever hormones in most households, we'd be better off. Did I say that out loud, or was that a thought bubble that burst? Wait a minute, that was TJ's idea. Sorry, I was just expressing. He held up a sign. So
that's right. There's one woman, and she's controlling all the hormones for everybody.
And then the one woman's arms fall off, and they fall to the ground. Okay.
They both lose their wings.
Okay, and then they fall to the ground with no arms.
To the ground, No
wings.
wings. They still got their little legs.
Well, the
And they're
guys
going-
getting their wings clipped, I get that. But the women get hers clipped too?
They both get them clipped. That's right.
Damn, man.
They'll start a new colony.
They can
and then
control their
once
own
they-
hormones, and both sides get their wings clipped. And then they start a new colony.
Yeah, I mean, Mother Nature, I'm telling you, that little termite is amazing because not only does the queen control the hormones, but these termites are blind and they can detect wood 15 to 20 feet in either direction. And they can travel an enormous amount cover an enormous amount of ground. And that termite is going to follow the hard path areas in your yard and show up in those porches, patios, and garage areas. And that's typically about 95% of the time where termites are going to show up in a house. So as swarming season is getting ready to be upon us, this is a great time of year for you to kind of do some investigative work around your house. Look around your baseboards, around the front side of your house, around your rear patio. Look in the garage. If you see little wings showing up in those areas, or if you see mud showing up in the areas, or if the baseboard or windowsill or sheetrock looks a little bit different than normal, then it's time for you to call a professional. And, you know, one of the things that I love, I had a great call yesterday to go out on too. One of the biggest misconceptions out there is that if your home is built on a concrete slab, you're not going to get termites to show up in the house whatsoever. This home I went out to yesterday was a superior form wall. That means it was solid poured concrete walls on all four sides of the house. Inside the first floor of the house was metal studs, and those termites had come up through there and gone over to the second floor of the house off of the rear addition to where the termites had shown up into the sheeting up behind the stucco of the house.
Wow.
And they were just they couldn't figure out why and how they got these termites, because they were under the impression their home was impenetrable to them. And Mother Nature is just amazing. And one of the things that happened with this particular house is it had some moisture issues behind that stucco. And when those termites swarmed, there was a very high probability that they found themselves getting in back behind that moisture damage on that second floor during that swarming season. And then they were able to go at it. And the reality was these termites had been there for a long time, and they didn't know they had them, because typically in ideal situations, termites are going to do about 4 feet of damage per year. And that can vary depending upon how conducive moisture conditions are or how not conducive, etc. But for the amount of damage that they had there, those termites had been there for a good 5 to 6 years and have done substantial damages to the side of the house. So just because your home's on a concrete slab versus a crawl space does not mean that you're going to end up with termites, and you need to have a professional come out and take a look.
Right. Didn't you all cite some statistic like in the yard, like every certain number of feet, there's a termite colony?
Yeah, on every acre of land, there are typically 2 to 3 colonies of termites. And how that colony typically will work is kind of like a bike wheel, where you'll have a central hub, a central colony, and then you'll have spokes that come off of it, and then you'll have an outer wheel. And they will move around that outer rim in those different colonies looking for the best opportunities for food, for shelter, etc. When invading species come in, they'll shut down that portion of the colony, abandon it until a time period where they'll send some soldiers and workers to go out and forage to see what's going on. And if it's safe, they'll re-inhabit that area. And that's why it's important to make sure you've got the proper type of treatment for your house.
Yeah, you know, we've talked about this before, you know, those little green traps that you put around with what I call a piece of wood, or what I call a termite Snickers bar in each one of those little places around the house. So you talking about a blind critter that gets its wings clipped and then has control of its own hormones and mates in the air, gets a mile high pin, all that kind of stuff. And somehow blindly it's going to find that Snickers bar in that little green thing. I mean, like you just said, Sammy, you got to treat it right, right? We got about 15 seconds for the break.
Got to do it right. The baiting programs are horrible. We don't recommend them. We don't sell them. We recommend liquid treatment with Termidor. It's the best out there on the market. And those baiting programs reserve the right to come back and treat with liquid. So don't save the best for last. Use the best up front and get it done with the right guys who know how to get it done.
Great, man. More from Your Real Estate Today. Ivy and Jameson will be back right after the break here on News Talk 1110 3 WBT. Stay right where you are. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the show, Your Real Estate Today. I'm Paul Jameson, your host with the Jameson family of real estate companies, realty, property management, and property investments. I'm here with Sam Ivey with Ivey Exterminating, and we're talking about your home. We just learned that love is in the air. So we're going to share the love with other information. And when Sam comes back on with us, he's going to talk about a couple of things. One, he's going to talk about your crawl space. And if I can get him to, he'll talk about chipmunks and where the bug eggs are hiding. Where the eggs are hidden. It's not Easter, but the eggs are hiding out there somewhere. And we're going to get him to talk about that too. All right. So I want to share with you after this weekend, I think I told y'all before, when I was citing it earlier in my monologue, that there is a tremendous amount of demand right now for listings. And if you're thinking about selling, we'd love to talk to you. And one thing you're going to get very clearly from us is we don't need a disclaimer when we work with you. There's no footnote at Jameson. And it's about good hard work and getting you the most for your home and helping you get to the finish line. Anybody can put a house under contract. We know how to get to the finish line. And that's where experience comes into play. But really what I experienced this weekend really kind of made me sit up straight around our market. And that is that when we had this open house this weekend, in a home, I'd say about 1,600 square feet, a couple 100,000, 54 people were at the open house. We had showings every 30 minutes from 1 o'clock in the afternoon until Monday at noon. There were no open slots. We received 25 offers. And what I want you to understand is in this marketplace, it is not impossible to find a home if you're a buyer or an investor. What makes it impossible is not understanding the process and not knowing how to present an offer. You know, there has been many realtors that say, well, the way to win is to write a love letter telling someone how much you love their home and how much you are going to embrace it, love it, hug it, snuggle with it when you own it. That is not the way to win an offer. If you're a seller out there, you need to understand ahead of time and have a plan if your home sells quickly, where to go. But this weekend, it reminded me that if you want to represent a buyer and you want to buy, agents need to step up their game. And what that means is they need to step up the level of communication they have with their clients as to what's reasonable and what is the correct way to write the offer. Well, let me give you an example. Number one, before I even write an offer, I'm on the phone with a listing agent. Other than money, listing agent, what is important to the seller? What do they care about? Moving dates, terms, issues. What things can we do to at least be sure to show that seller that we're flexible and can work on their time schedule? Second, you need to know how to write an offer. You got to fill in the blanks. You leave things out of the offer, and as you're evaluating 25 offers, don't think for 1 second that seller has to come back to you and counter your offer. They do not. I can't tell you out of the 25 agents where I got phone calls and they said, well, look, if there's something that the seller doesn't like, they can just call us back and give us a counter. I said, no. You're not listening. I said, bring me the best offer you can bring me so that when your buyers lay down their head on the pillow at night, they know that they've put the best offer forward. And agents working with buyers, you need to tell your buyers that. The seller is not obligated to counter offer your toe in the water offer that was nowhere near what you'd be willing to accept. 25 offers, people. And so many agents were like, well, just counter. We didn't need to counter. There was no reason. You know, the other, you have to fill out the contract. Golly. Because if you do a sloppy job in the beginning, signal is you're going to do a sloppy job all the way through. It just makes no sense to me. Another thing, when you've got a piece of property in demand and your buyer wants it, don't call the baby ugly. For goodness sake, don't call me up at 10 o'clock at night 5 times to tell me everything that's wrong with my listing and think that you're going to win. Because guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell my seller, hey, seller, I got 10 calls from this agent. And they complained, their buyers complained about this. At one point, I said to the buyer agent, what are you writing an offer for? If they hate it that much, why bother? So think about it. Here's another thing. Buyers and sellers. Financing. You have got to ask questions about financing before you accept an offer. Even if it's cash, that's not financing. Where's the money coming from if you're a cash buyer? Send me proof of funds. Send me proof of funds with a date on it that's not a year old or 6 months old or 2 months old. Send me something with proof of funds from NOW now, right? If you're financing, don't send me a pre-qualification letter that you printed off a Quicken, because I already told you, rocket mortgage is like the North Korean rocket. It goes up and it comes down quick and it blows up on itself. You know, the lender matters that you use and the letter matters that you use, because I call the lender. And if the buyer hasn't shown them their financials and proved if they have the ability to pay, if they're just going off what they told them on the phone, I mean, you're not going to make it to the Final Four, baby. You're going to be stuck on the bench washing the towels. It's not fair to your buyer to have your buyer not prepared and ready to make an offer. If they're not prepared, don't write the offer. Have your ducks in a row. Okay, TJ, can you help me down off the soapbox for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay, you got me? All right, hold on. Okay, all right. So don't throw out lowball offers thinking you're going to get a counter. Don't send me easy for me to say, pre-qualified letters. Send me pre-approval letters and send them complete with current dates. Send me proof of funds that are correct. If you're putting a large down payment, send me proof of funds of the large down payment. And here's what confuses me. I had multiple offers that came with down payment assistance. That's basically 100% financing. Is that a bad thing? No. Does it hold up a closing? Yes. And they're sending me stuff with down payment assistance with $6,000 of hard money. If you got $6,000 to throw away on due diligence, if you're going to walk away, you can pay for your own down payment because it's a $200,000 house. That's 10%. No, it's not 10%. That's 3%, which means you can do an FHA loan. Sorry, my math was a little bleep there for a second. It's that new math, right? So anyway, don't just send a letter without realizing good agents are going to scrutinize us. So you're not going to get anything past my team, I can tell you. So, because we don't want to do this twice. We're doing it once, and we're going to the closing table. Don't send me letters about my math, by the way, will you? Okay. All right. Next, make sure the agent on the other side has a reputation for getting it done. All right. More to come with Sam Ivey, Ivey Exterminating. I'm Paul Jameson, your host of the show, Your Real Estate Today. We're having a great Saturday. We'll be right back. News Talk 1110 99.3 WBT. Hello. Welcome back to the show, Your Real Estate Today. Man, time sure flies when we're having fun talking about my favorite subject and hopefully yours. That's real estate. I'm Paul Jameson, your host with the Jameson Real Estate Companies. That's Realty Property Management and Property Investments, here with Sam Ivey with Ivey Exterminating. Sam, we got to talk about the crawl space. Now, this weekend, that home I was referencing that had 25 offers, Sam and Marty were involved in the process as one of the team members, but we had a crawl space in that house that you could serve food in. It was beautiful. Makes a difference, doesn't it?
It makes a huge difference. You know, Paul, one of the things I love about this spot we do on Saturdays is our great listeners out there driving around, listening, tuning in. And I got a call a couple weeks back from one of our listeners, wanted us to come out and take a look at their crawl space. And they were concerned about some moisture problems in their crawl space. And I was so glad they called to have us come out and take a look, because there were some issues that they needed to address around the outside of the home that were affecting inside the crawl space area. And every home is different. Every yard is different. Every situation is different. But you need to have somebody who looks at this 24/7. That's all they do, to come out and steer you in the right direction so that you can make an educated, well-informed decision. And the crawl space is the heartbeat of the home. I mean, we hear Marty talk about it all the time. About 42% of the air quality inside of your home is a result of the crawl space. I was in a crawl space this last week, and a lot of times what happens is with the seasonal changes, those air ducts will come loose, and people don't have their HVAC companies come out and check those ducts on a regular basis, or they don't have anybody go in the crawl space at all for 5-10 years, and they're heating their entire crawl space, and they're not sure why their power and gas bill are through the roof, but it's because they just haven't had somebody come out and take a look. And it's very affordable to have us come out. We take a look at the whole entire crawl space. We're going to look for wood destroying organisms. We're going to be taking a look to see what kind of moisture conditions are going on in the crawl space right now. We're going to be taking a look to see if you have loose or fallen ducts, or if you've got a lint, your dryer vent that's come loose, and now you're re-insulating the whole entire crawl space with your dryer clothes scraps. I mean, these things are important to know, as some of them can cause fire-related issues in a crawl space. We're going to be checking to see if you have a dehumidifier. If you don't have a dehumidifier, you may need one, you may not need one. Not every house needs one. There are a lot of advantages to putting one in your house. But again, each house is uniquely designed and different, and we know what to look for and how to steer you in the right direction to get the best bang for your buck out of your home. You know, one of the things that's important this time of year as the weather is dropping is that age-old question: do I keep those foundation vents open or do I shut them? When it's cold outside like it is right now, you want those vents to be shut so that that warm air can stay inside so that your pipes won't freeze and your pipes won't burst. There's nothing like, we've got a house right now that we went out to this week. It had about 5 inches of standing water throughout the majority of the crawl space because of some water issues in the crawl space. Those things are, it's pretty simple to get on them early. It costs a little bit of money up front, but the long-term benefits far outweigh what could happen down the road when you're looking at $20,000 to $30,000 in repairs and restoration.
Yeah, that's right. And the other thing, I just need to tell you, one of the things, and we've talked about this many times before, the crawl space from a sales perspective is the biggest deal killer, right? 72% of deals fall as a result of the crawl space. But one of the things we've now made in our personal homes, our personal investment homes, as a standard operating procedure is the installation of a dehumidifier and the sealing of those vents and the sealing of that crawl space. Because for the tenants and for us, it takes a lot of the issues off the table: air quality, mold, microbial growth. It takes all those issues off the table, and it protects my asset. And I do that, and I use that term, my asset, however you want to interpret it. So it's a thing we do as a standard practice, and I recommend for my clients. It's well worth the money, and it also saves energy.
Yeah, it's well worth it. I mean, it's a relatively inexpensive thing to take care of up front, and it is far going to just exceed all of your expectations. We have never put one in for a customer that hasn't been extremely thrilled that they made that decision and put it in, because it'll take care of issues in your hardwood floors. It'll take care of issues with smells in the house. It'll take care of allergy issues associated with that microbial growth.
Right. That's
Just
right.
so many benefits that it just makes sense to go ahead and do it and get it done right.
Right. All right. So I want to switch gears with you for a minute. I want to talk about two things. One is at the request of Sandy, how do you get rid of chipmunks? And the other is where are the eggs hiding so that we can get to them, or you can get to them? Where do you find them so that we can remove them before the spring?
That's right. Now, was Sandy talking about the chipmunks, like Alvin and the Chipmunks, or?
Well, that might be the adult version, cartoon version of that. I mean, to get rid of them, you just turn the TV off.
Or the radio station.
Or the radio, yeah.
Thank God Christmas is over.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. I think she's having an issue with him at a patio.
Yeah, she's got a home, and chipmunks fall into that squirrel family, so they kind of fall into that rodent pest family, and they are kind of cute, but boy, they can tear up a yard in a heartbeat. And sometimes people will confuse a chipmunk for a rat, because rats burrow in the mulch beds around the house. And so do voles. Voles will burrow around the house. And typically those chipmunks are showing up because you've created some type of conducive condition where you've got bulbs or a high food source around the house for them to show up in and hang out. So there are a couple ways that you can repel them. First, you can use, some people have success with the ultrasonic frequencies. You see some people put these out for deer as well in their yard too. When it triggers an ultrasonic sound that's just selective to their hearing frequencies.
But doesn't that attract bats, Sam?
It can attract bats. Again, it's kind of one of those things where some people have success and some people it invites a whole nother problem associated with it. The other way, remove those things that are attracting. So if you've got a lot of bird feeders around the house, you might want to move them further off towards the back of the property and enjoy the birds from back there. There are some granular repellents that you can buy from the store, or you can get a professional company to come out and put them in the yard. Basically, they're basically oils like rosemary and thyme and very high concentrated oils that are released into the soil that change the food that these chipmunks are feeding on and will repel them that way. Your other options, you can clean out the beds. You can replace the mulch for rocks. Those chipmunks aren't going to be able to burrow through those rocks, and it'll deter them. And once you buy the rocks, you're done. You don't have to put mulch back every year. Another option is you can get a pet snake, black snake or king snake. Always works well. You can get a cat. Go adopt a few cats, or you can get a pet hawk. I showed up to a customer's house one day and came around the side, and I asked the customer, I said, "Is that your pet hawk out there in the car?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "The hawk that's in your car." He had a giant red-tailed hawk that was chasing a chipmunk, and he had the hatchback open on his car, and the hawk missed the chipmunk and ended up in the car.
Oh
and
my gosh.
We spent the next 20 minutes trying to get this hawk out of the car. So go get you a pet hawk. I'm just saying there are a lot of options that you can use to get rid of them.
And if they want to talk to you, how do they find you guys at Ivey?
Give us a call, 704-334-1616 or bugivy.com.
All right. Thank you, Sam. Or you need us at Jameson, 846-DON, 846-3663, or on the web at myjamesonhomes.com. Don't forget to pick up your copy of Opportunity is Knocking, my book about investment and property management, available on the web at pauljameson.com or on Amazon Prime. Take care. God bless. Happy Saturdays. See you next week on News Talk 1110, 99.3 WBT.